First of all, I'd like to say all praises be to the Most High, in the name of Yeshua, for keeping us safe, having a safe trip, uh, going back into Babylon and help help order the Church of Christ. Uh, I would say that trip has done a lot for me as far as getting things back on course. When I say getting things back on course, not that the truth wasn't being exalted, but there was other things we needed to pay attention to and set up for the end. So the Most High had to shift the focus, all the focus, back to His will, all the way in every area. So we went through some certain churches, we set them up the way Christ said, set them up. If things wasn't right, we reestablished things with new leadership. As you all know, we have a leaders class for women, as far as because there is elder women and women that was in the administration on Thursdays to help under the elders and deacons to guide, the administration and direct the sisters. We have an elders class and deacons class and a leadership class for the brethren that all those that learned under us must go through. And I was saying before, by default, we were just putting people in position based off proximity and trusted them because they were following our videos, which is not a qualification for being able to lead a church. And by default, certain challenges was put on them that they weren't prepared for because they never learned the gospel and what it takes to lead and didn't go through the discernment of good and evil. They were just babes themselves. So all in all, we have to restructure things to make sure everyone in position of the church is 100% purely qualified under the doctrine to actually lead as a leader within the gathering of Christ Church. All right. And we have to structure it that way because the numbers are becoming innumerable. I'm sure that a lot of you seen just the Passover itself, and that was only parts of the South and the East Coast. That wasn't all of the Midwest. That wasn't the West Coast. That wasn't all of Florida. That was just a fraction, and that's not counting the people that are being converted as we speak and being ordered all over the earth. So this is what we've been called to do, and this is our direction. And the brethren that's amongst us will also be called to lead, and they're going to be trips that we'll take to step up into the position the Most High called us into. Now, going into the class today, all right, we're going into a class called BAAL, and the Bible. Now, the reason we're going into this is because they are erecting, as they claim, an archway that was on the original temple of Baal in back in ancient times, in biblical times, that they claim was destroyed or harmed in the rubble of Syria, that ISIS attacked it, and it's a relic, an archaeological relic that they want to erect in defiance of ISIS. So they're going to erect this particular temple to Baal in New York, then in London. I touched on it for those who listened to the radio show the other day. I kind of touched on it, but I didn't go all the way into it because I knew I was going to talk about it today. Now, to most people in the earth who may be viewing this or seeing this, it's probably just some news that would just pass them by with no significance in their lives personally at all. They feel it have no impact on them personally. Oh, they found something. They're going to erect it, something old. It has nothing to do with us. And, but really, it's a biblical proportion that they are erecting these particular, what you would call relics. And the reason why there's no pushback amongst the population is why the majority of the earth don't know what it is and has gone away from the Bible altogether, and therefore can't identify what this means in prophecy. Okay? Now, based on what I'm seeing, traveling the earth and going, especially going into America, a few places I've gone, it would seem to the untrained spiritual eye that the Most High God has vacated the earth. Mm-hmm. That there is no God. Look at the state of the earth. It's time for us to fend on our own and do what we think is right. Because obviously, if there was a God, things would be different. My life, so it's about living for myself, dealing with the God in me and being the best person I can be, irregardless. And if there is a God and I'm doing good, I'm in agreement with him anyway. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the spirit that's out there amongst all people. Well, as long as I'm a good person. So I can be a good person and still be a sinner according to the Bible, because the God of the Bible has vacated the earth and he don't exist. There's many gods anyway and many religions. Who's to say that God of the Bible is the God we should be worshiping? But while all this is going on and what's happening, sin has abounded. Because there's no barometer and the Bible has now been put in the category of every other book, it's okay to break every law within the Bible. Why am I going into this? Because the Bible will show beyond any shadow of a doubt why the earth is in the state it's in today. The Bible also prophesied there would come a time where it would look as if he vacated the earth. Okay? The fallen gods rule this earth. Okay? They rule this earth. So do they divert you, or do they, what I would say, try to make it seem the Most High God is not real? They don't. Because that would actually minimize their existence. But they do have a way into diverting you. See, there's codes even when it comes to how the gods operate on this earth. Things they can do and what they cannot do. They gain souls, these spirits, by diverting you into believing that they're the gods you should be following. They'll divert you. So there's paths. And the Most High give us free will, just like he gave Adam and Eve the tree of life. And Satan planted the tree of good and evil. So now there's a choice in the earth. And there's two paths, and that never changed. But since Satan got full power of the earth, right? His whole thing is to channel all of the beliefs and understanding of the Most High into a different path. Let me show you what I'm talking about and how this leads to what we're talking about with this gateway. Or what you would call the Temple of Baal that has been erected in defiance of ISIS. If you believe that. Do the Bible describe what's really going on? Suppose, just suppose, the diversion was made so that everyone in the earth can come to the realization that they've been following one God anyway. And it's okay to follow that God. Suppose the diversion was that the whole time. And now Satan is just revealing, and the gods are revealing themselves as your leaders. Suppose that's so. Right? I want you to check something out here. I see it's going on for you, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Let's get Thessalonians real quick. And then let's get the one you just put down.
Mm-hmm.
You notice while this is going on, while all this is happening, there's an onslaught and a relentless attack against the Bible itself.
Mm.
Right? Now, do they still have you where? Do they still have it where all of us can still access the Bible? Yeah. Yes. So they're not stopping us from reading it. But see, they can't just take it out from us altogether, because the path must be before you. But if they can divert you into not going into it, that's not their problem. That's your problem. Even if what they're saying is right, 100% right, trying to destroy the Bible and all and claiming it's tampered with or whatever they're putting out there, it was up to us to read it to see if what they were saying is correct or a lie. It was up to us to figure it out. See? But they knew, based on the state of the earth, that we would choose another path. And I'm going to tell you how they was able to do this. By infusing us into the spirit of idolatry and BAAL, to the point where our existence is a part of their existence. Mm. Our life has now been infused with the master of this earth. And by doing so, we get some type of adulation as idols within this world.
Right.
So now, because of the attention and other things that we get with the being an idol, we'll rather deal with their interpretation of what the Bible is, so that our pride coexists with Satan's. I'm going to show you everything we're saying and how this totally infuses with what I'm talking about with the erection of the temple. That's a message to everyone, to every religious leader, to every politician, to those that are looking to follow anything spiritual, because the battlefield is not even for those who don't believe. They're not even on the battleground. They're not even on the quote-unquote Masonic chessboard. For those who don't believe, they're already dead. For those who don't believe there's a God, they're not even in the conversation. So some people might think, well, look, because the world is in such a state, we can do what we want. God has vacated. There's no God. What we know after this? Mm. I'm going to show you how this all fuses. How the Bible breaks it all the way down. Baal and BAAL all the way up until our present time. And what that means for us, and what is that sign according to scriptures. And then it also signifies really how short of a time we have left. Speaking of times, let's read it.
This is the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 3.
Come on. Hold up. Everyone is turning. Let's make sure everyone have it there.
Yes, sir. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
Yeah.
Let no man deceive you by any means.
Let no man deceive you by any means. That means don't deal with the deceptions of man. Figure it out for yourself. Don't let them try to make you believe God don't exist and all that, and give you their opinion of why and their arguments of why. Don't let no man deceive you concerning what? The Bible, Christ, the disciples, Paul, all of the book. Don't let no man give you their opinion on anybody that's in the Bible or their purpose. Read them for yourself. Get to know their true intent for yourself, or you'll be deceived. All of these men in the Bible were holy men, even after a fault like Paul's. That's why he said, let no man deceive you. How do they usually deceive people? By looking to discredit something or discredit someone. Let no man deceive you, read.
By any means.
By any device. Go on.
For that day shall not come.
What day is it speaking of? The coming of Yeshua. That day shall not come.
Except there come a falling away first.
Because during Paul's time, the majority of us in the gospel realized there was only 4 empires that Israel had to go through before being saved. So during Paul's time, they was teaching that Christ was going to come back during the 4th empire, which was the Roman Empire. Right? He says there must be a falling away first. There's other things that have to happen according to the Old Testament, Paul is saying here. Israel did not fall by the edge of the sword at this time during Paul's writings to the church of Thessalonians. He said, we, the children of Israel, must fall by the Romans and go into captivity first. Israel must be scattered throughout the 4 corners first. And that's when Christ is going to come after that. There shall not be a falling away first. That falling away has been incorrectly taught in church as a great apostasy. That falling away is not speaking of a great apostasy. That falling away is Israel falling by the edge of the sword by the Romans. He said that Rome must destroy Jerusalem first. The temple must be rent. The temple must be destroyed. Israel must be scattered. They must go into captivity. They must serve the other nations. That's what Paul is showing here. Read.
And that man of sin, Salakia, be revealed.
And that man of sin be revealed. Now we know that man of sin. We know that man of sin himself is who? Satan. And then we must then focus on who? The serpent's seed. His children. Those that linked into the Canaanite bloodline. The Edomites that linked into their bloodline. Okay, who are now the Turks, the Jewish powers, the British monarchy. And a matter of fact, when we go through the 4 beasts of Daniel tomorrow, we'll actually be continuing who is Edom. And the bloodlines and the fact that they hate King James because King James was revealing them and what their actions would be in the end time against us. Right? That falling away had to happen first. Read.
And that man of sin be revealed.
And we know that man of sin is Satan, but you have some people that are operating on the earth as the synagogue of Satan. And there's no coincidence they worship in synagogues. So they had to be revealed also as the children of Satan. I'm going to show you how this all coincides. Because the powers of this earth claim to be following Judaism or claim to be following Christianity and claim to be following the Bible. But yet today, the same powers are erecting an archway to Baal. So what God are they really serving? They're banking on our ignorance and not knowing what the temple of Baal is. They're telling us their religion, what they follow, who they worship. See? So they had to be revealed. No children of Israel or children of God or children of Christ in the earth ruling would erect a temple to Baal.
Right.
In the end times. So who are these people? Have you been deceived? Yes. And Paul warned us, be not deceived by any means. Just because someone called themselves Jewish or called themselves Christian, that's all they have to do to deceive us? Christ never called himself Jewish. Christ never called himself Christian. So the shame is on those who are not reading the Bible. Because these people that are ruling are making it clear to us who they are, and we're just not looking. We're just ignoring it. And once we recognize who they are, it only leads us to a path. The only path that's left. They control every other path except one. Remember, they didn't take the Most High's name out of the earth. They just diverted us. It was always there. They knew it. They didn't take the truth out of the earth. The Bible is before you. They just needed you to see it according to their theology. To not trust it. Read.
Yes, sir. This is the rest of verse 3.
Come on.
The son of perdition.
The son of perdition.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Hold up. Above all that is called the Most High, including his people. Read.
Or that is worshipped so that he as God.
Hold up. Or that is what?
Or that is worshipped.
So if we're not deceived, we'll be worshiping this deity, Satan himself. See? Now, before you read that, I'm going to give you an analogy real quick. You notice the Masons have the chessboard. Right? It's an analogy. It's not just black or white. It's warfare, right? One king against the other king. Black, white, right? Don't think that's a coincidence. But in that strategic act, anyone that plays chess realize that you make a move to dictate what move your opponent will make.
Right.
So you have to make a move to draw someone into where you want them to be. And then you strike their weaknesses. Right? So when you look at media and all that, look at that as a chess move. He's the principalities of the powers of the air. He just needs you to react off of the move, even if nothing happened at all. Because through that, it leaves an opening. And then here come the bishop down. Check. Mm-hmm. And who's getting checked? Us. That's because we believe what they're bringing forth. We are a part of their deception. If you believe any of it, you're open for the next move. You can only be off the board if you're on a separate path. You're not even on the board. You're just looking at all the pieces move. That's why they use this as their marker right before you, all the Masons. And I'm going all into it today. Where there'll be no question who's the God of all gods and who's ruling this earth and what are they using, who are they using, and how we can avoid getting caught up. Right? Read.
Or that is worshipped.
Or that is worshipped. That means he will divert you and take all the worships that really belong to the Creator. By doing what? How can you make people give up on the God of all gods? You cause chaos and blame it on him. You teach a doctrine that God loves everybody and God will never see hurt. God will never do anything and anything wrong, and He will never punish. He just love everyone and give the earth that perception, and then cause all types of havoc and evil to confuse the people. They're going to be like, well, what type of God will allow this? Who's look, my family's dying of cancer. The water's being poisoned. What God will sit back and let this happen? When they are dictating the moves, they are doing that on purpose, knowing that there's only one path left to run to. There's not many paths. There's only two. I'm going there. There's only two paths. Two. It has always been just two paths. I don't care what they tell you. So they must make a mistrust in the path. And by default, everyone else will be filtered into the other path. I'm going to show you. Read.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
Sitteth in the temple of God. Now you have some people that are in Israel right now. Was not there according to prophecy, where the king of the earth destroys all nations and lead his people back into Jerusalem from the four corners of the earth. No, these people are set up by the Roman government. See? Sitting in Israel. That's good. And have spirits and gods they're dealing with at the Dome of the Rock over in Israel today, while the land lay desolate. Sitting in the temple of God, read.
Showing himself that he is God.
And that's why you have the Muslims and the Christians and the Jewish people worshiping all together at the Wailing Wall. At the Wailing Wall, crying before the wall. All three are worshiping together. Satan. They suckering the Christians in by saying, well, this is the place that Christ came and he walked down this path. The Muslims are there because they know who they're worshiping. They're worshiping the rock. They're worshiping stone. And you have the Jewish people there. This is the spiritual worship and hierarchy of the religious world. And we know that the Jewish powers in their religion, we know that they do not believe in Christ. And that's including the deception that they are using with the Messianic Jews. That's also a tactic. The Messianic Jews don't believe in Christ either because they think they're the Jews. Read.
Verse 5.
Come on.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things.
Come on.
Verse 6. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
So obviously, Satan would have a time to operate on the earth before these things are revealed. Who is he? What is his true purpose? What people is set up to do his will on earth? To bring forth his legislation? To control the airwaves for the path? These things must be revealed first. So throughout all this time while Satan is setting up his kingdoms through nations, evil and chaos is going on. Right? Read.
Verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work.
But Paul is saying here that the mystery of iniquity, the mystery of who's doing this behind closed doors, he's working right now. So Paul is letting you know that this is no man you have to look for in the future. You just don't know who he is. See? The mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Why? Because Satan from Pergamos was already operating with the Roman priests and the Roman Caesars. Okay. He says they're already working. See? So Satan went from Pergamos, which is Turkey, who are also Jewish. And eventually they went into the homeland that was vacated by our forefathers. They're no longer called Romans anymore. They're no longer called the family of Caesar. They're the British monarchy. They're the powers that set up the Constitution within the United States. They're the Masons that are over all the rich families of the earth. They're Edomite father's side and Canaanite mother's side. Children of Satan. Read.
The rest of verse 7. Only he who now letteth.
Now listen. Only he who now letteth
will let
until
he be taken out of the way.
Until he be taken out of the way. So has the Most High vacated the earth? No. He had to let them operate until certain prophecies be fulfilled. So they look at that area in which the Most High is letting them operate to use as a campaign against the citizens of the earth and the people of the earth and the nations of the earth to make you believe God don't exist. When they know they have a time to do what they're doing. To create the earthquakes in diverse places. To frack the ground and cause all types of disruptions in the earth. You understand? To cause wars and rumors of wars through their false legislation and fake war on terrorism. They'll do all this evil behind closed doors and blame it on the Most High. But he that letteth will now letteth until what?
Until he be taken out of the way.
Exactly. So eventually there's a judgment for their actions. But if we're deceived during this period, we fall with the fallen gods. See that? Their judgment is coming. Their time is almost up. Christ will soon return. We just have to keep the faith and stick to the word. Things are bad and it will get worse. And man will always blame everything outside of their own behavior. They'll always try to blame it on God or blame it on someone else. See? I wanted to go there first. What else you have on that?
Just two quick references.
Come on.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 8, verse 11. Down to verse 13.
Come on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Read it again.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. That means someone did something evil against the Bible and they feel that nothing is happening to them or nothing happened. Well, I sinned and nothing happened. Read that again.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
It's just because the Most High don't judge it right there after it happens. Read.
Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Their heart is set to do evil because they tested it when they feared a judgment and nothing happened.
Right.
It's like, there's no God. I did this and I'm still here and I'm doing it. Right? See, this is what Satan used to say, well, listen, see, the Bible says there's a judgment in here and you're doing fine. The Most High know your heart. Even though you're evil, even though you're doing wickedness against God, the Most High know you want to do good. And that's what he's going to judge you by. If you die in that sin, you will wake up in hell. He'll make you think that you can kick this sin can down the road, knowing that the Most High may require your soul tomorrow.
Read. Verse 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times,
he may do it over and over, and he really think he's getting away with it.
and his days be prolonged.
And then the Most High will allow him to live long too.
Yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High.
But at the end of it, it will be well with those who feared the Most High and kept the commandments and repented. Read.
Which fear before him, but it shall not be well with the wicked.
It will not be well with the wicked. Go on.
Neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Most High.
That means our life, brothers and sisters, is just a shadow of time compared to our spirit's existence. You think you're getting away with it in our time, in our realm. But once the spirit leaves, it's an eternity of punishment. So no one gets away with anything. And see, with that, the Most High gives us peace. On another note, before I swing back to this Temple of Baal thing. Why did the Most High give us peace with this? I know I don't have to execute judgment against a brother or sister, even if they're doing wrong. I don't have to try to attack them or try to hurt them or go against them or try to, physically harm them or anything. Why? Because no one's getting away. I don't have to get myself bent out of shape what they're doing and what they're conspiring. No. I don't have to deal with it. Why? Because no one gets away. So I might as well just deal with peace and give my vengeance to the Most High and not get myself worked up or angry over what anyone would do against me. See that? That gives you peace. I see some people, they be like, well, he said this and she said this and he's thinking this way about me or she thinking this way about me. Why even get stirred up? If someone is thinking or doing wrong, who know it first? The Most High. So I won't even get worked up with all that. We have righteous scenarios to deal with. We have so many things to do to get ourselves together with the Most High. To be focused on vengeance and what other people feel and what they're looking to do. These are more devices of Satan. Read.
This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3.
2 Peter 3 and 3. Let's go.
Second Peter 3 and 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers.
There shall come scoffers.
Walking after their own lust.
Walking after their own lust. Scoffers is people, not only complainers, but look to attack you verbally. Or they'll look at you and be like, yeah, look at you believing in the Bible. You're stupid. You're crazy.
Right.
You understand? Yeah, there's an invisible man. Oh, that invisible man in the sky. And all, just try to antagonize you.
Right.
Make you feel less than what you should be feeling. You understand? They're trying to put that out there. Saying you're silly, believing in something in the sky and trying to attack your faith. When really, you should just pray for that person, these scoffers. Or you have people that only thing they'll do is view you and look at you to attack you, not realizing that as they are viewed as a child of the Most High, you are also. They wanted to attack you and not realizing that they are attacking themselves. Scoffers. Read.
Verse 4. In saying, where is the promise of his coming?
See, this is another way they try to shake your faith. All this going on and we're still here. Where's the signs of what y'all said would happen? What happened? We're still here. The earth is still going on. Mm-hmm. These are scoffers. What are they looking to do? Tempting you to come out from your path. That's temptation. I know some people be scrolling through Facebook and all these other things and look at everybody, look at this facade of life that they claim. Everyone lie on Facebook. Everyone lie on these social medias. No one's doing as good as they putting up online. Every one of them lie. And you will look at it and be like, man, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to do what's holy and what's right, while my family passed me by. This is past. Look at this. They had the party like they had a good time, and I wasn't there. And all of these things come to mind, and you think you're missing out on something. Then you will look at it, and then you start looking at your life and be like, well, you know, I would still make it if I didn't find the truth and just found it like a year from now. I would still have time to get in. So I missed all this, and I could have got it, a year from now.
Right.
That's how I start playing in your mind. The Most High didn't call you a year from now. He called you when he called you. And we're closer to the time now than the urgency that was on us when we first found the truth. That urgency was real.
Right.
The Most High didn't change according to his prophecies. We're actually closer to it going down than when we received it. Which means the urgency, we should be more urgent now. And that's one thing the Most High showed me going through Babylon. I don't care what mirage they put online and what they're saying before the internet body. People are going through hell.
Right.
People are suffering the curses of the Most High. I don't see no slaves that was been called to be slaves, according to prophecies, talking about their slavery on their Facebook page. You would think they had the kingdom. You don't see none of them talking about how much. You don't see them with the ashy lips. Their lips is done up, everything.
Right.
You don't see them struggling. Everyone's a star online. But you walk through the hood. You walk through some of the places I walk through where there is no access. Online is foreign to a lot of people. I know a lot of people who don't even know how to go online. Now check that out. That's just a caveat they have. When you go through the ghetto and look, they may go through the library ever so often and try to get online just to do something. But let me get back. Read.
The rest of verse 4 saying, where is the promise of his coming?
Where is the promise of his coming? Where's Christ? All this sacrificing you doing and losing out on life, where's your promise? Read.
For since the fathers fell asleep,
Since the forefathers fell asleep, read.
all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
People are still dying. People are still, having babies. Everything is still the same. The only thing different is you're not buying in. You're checking out. Read.
Jumping down to verse 9.
Come on.
The Lord is not slack concerning his promise.
The Most High is not slack concerning his promise. Everything he promised will be fulfilled for those who believe. Read.
As some men count slackness.
Some men count slackness. Why can't you just get it all right now? You missing out. Why can't you have it all? Don't your God want you to have this right now? What God? Which God? Read.
But his long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish,
Not willing that any should perish. Read.
but that all should come to repentance.
That all should come to a change. Repent is change. Not after the course of this world. I used to wonder, why is it everything that's being publicized and it all joins together, I'm going to show you, and being pushed amongst the people is money. The lack of money or getting money or having money. I noticed how the rap game went from the struggle to I'm flossing and I got this and I got this. Look at my teeth, look at my pocket, look at my wheels, look at my women, look at, and I'm, and, right? And that's on the cultural side. Mm-hmm. And then I started to look at the same time that they changed that, they changed the ministry from having faith in Christ, waiting for Christ, to give me some money, get blessed right now. The blessing of Abraham is now. You can have your car, you can have your house, you can have everything. So what's the difference between the culture of hip hop and the prosperity ministry? It's the same agenda and the same people are behind them both. How do it go to the temple of Baal? How does this orchestrate into one? Who control the religious theology? Not the Bible, but the theology on how you view the Bible. Mm. Who controls the education of the course of how this earth should be? And who controls the music industry? When I look at that, on your screen right here is the bull from Wall Street. The bull is synonymous to who? BAAL. Going right back to the temple worship of how they're erecting this in two of the main financial capitals of the earth, New York and London. And bull was known for what? They would take a child and sacrifice the child in the bull. So if you go after the course of this world, after its finances, and after its influence to gain this world, you are yielding your soul and your body as a sacrifice to those that are leading behind closed doors, to those who really haven't revealed themselves, but the Bible exposes them. I hope you all are following me here. They're letting you know who they are, and that they were behind changing your ministries. With Kenneth Copeland, a Satanist. They got him to control all the black ministers within the United States. Kenneth Copeland is a high Jesuit. And they changed the faith of Christ into mammon and money. The same time the Jewish powers called all of the conscious rappers in together and said the course of rap is about to change because it's causing a disruption amongst the urban community. Those that are in, stay in. Those that are out, leave out. But if you stay in, you will be the banner of this whole new course we're going into, so that the whole earth and all the children can buy in to our agenda. Are you following me here? It was a conscious choice to serve a master. And during the same time this went down, who was initiated into the Masonry? Jehovah, Jay-Z. How does this synonymous to what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you. Let's go to Matthew 6 and 24. Don't forget I said that Jehovah, right? Baal, the bull. Let's go to Matthew 6 and 24.
Yes, sir. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24.
Yes.
No man can serve two masters.
See that? No man can serve two masters. So there's only how many? Two. This have never changed. I don't care what they tell you about this new age and the Buddhist and the Zen and all this new way of thought. There's nothing new about Zen and the Buddhist. It's all Persian mythology and Babylonian and the worship of the ancient gods. It's the same religion you're following, Babylonian, with the worships of Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, but from the Eastern world. It's no different. It all comes from Babylon. So there's many paths to Satan. Okay? There's only one path to the Most High. There's many paths to Satan. Okay? So when you hear Christians and Muslims and all of them get together on forums and say, well, listen, let's all agree that we all have different ideas of doing it, but there's really only one God. Know that they're telling the truth. But what they're not telling you is that that's not the God of gods. That's the God of this world. Read it again.
St. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24.
Yes.
No man can serve two masters.
No man can serve two masters.
For either he will hate the one.
Either he would do what?
Hate the one.
Hate the one.
And love the other.
And love the other. See? Now, what would make you hold to this God of this world and love this God and choose the God of this world? What? If this God takes care of you. See? If this God provides for you. If you feel this God looks out for your family. So when you look at the spirit of what they have in the earth today that they're leading the whole earth to, which is socialism, that's the whole point. When the government taking care of the people, that's Satan. Make it where you got to choose. If you have this mark of the God of this world, then you'll be able to buy and sell and do everything else. But I have to first convince you to love money, to love your lifestyle, to make that part of your existence. To where if you lose it, you feel you lost everything. I need you to connect your identity to what you have. And let that be one and the same. Therefore, you'll serve. Read it again.
No man can serve two masters.
You can't serve two masters. Read.
For either he will hate the one and love the other.
You will hate the God that tell you that in order for you to gain your life, you must lose it. The first thing you start to look at when the truth comes is what you got and what you're going to lose following the true God. And that's reality. What must I lose? Suppose I'm working at a job that's sinning against the Most High. And it's holding up my house. But here it is. I'm working in a system that's taking people's children. And now homosexuals is raising these children and all that. And I know it. But I'm the one taking it out of families' houses. Suppose I have to quit that job and lose next to 6 figures. The first thing you start to look at is not what's right, but what you have acquired. The Bible tells you when you get this truth, look to be brought low. I don't know nobody in this truth that got this truth and didn't lose something first. Everything. Because the Most High wants you to be built off of faith, and no faith is as real as our existence. So we can depend on the world to come, which is through faith. So, but the master give you instant gratification. Then you'll come to love him. And you will actually convince yourself to some degree that that's the Most High doing it for you. That's the true God. Let me show you. But the difference between our God and their God is that we have a sacrifice, Christ. The God of this world requires a sacrifice. You. They're not giving you this for nothing. You don't get this world for nothing. Okay? That's the difference. Either way, a sacrifice is required. So all these preachers out there, Creative Flow of Dollars and all these other guys, man, you can't even be upset with them. You have to pray for them.
Mm.
When you look at what they're going to lose and the punishment that comes with their behavior, it's to a point where you're not even angry anymore.
Right.
You got to pray for them because you've acquired all the wealth of this earth. And your life is but a shadow. And you will suffer for an eternity after this. Read on.
The rest of verse 24. Or else he will hold to the one.
He will hold to the one.
And despise the other.
Eventually you'll come to hate God, the true God. And you notice when people start really getting it, I'm talking about getting it. They go into this Asian philosophy of just being good and all that and saying, well, listen, I don't know if God exists because this was through the work of my hands, and who knows if God exists? Because that's the circle now they've surrounded themselves with. Unbelievers, those that are on high level, Satanists. Either they join the Masons and realize who they're dealing with altogether, or they're just those in-between guys who are just chasing money as the master. Read.
Ye cannot serve the Most High.
You cannot serve the Most High God.
And mammon.
And mammon. When you look at mammon, it also link into what? Money. You can't have them both. You can do the will of the Most High and whatever he put on that road. And if that's a little money, then that's on the road to do his will. He sent the disciples out by two without purse or scrip, saying a workman is worthy of his hire. So these are the things he put on the road for his will to be done, not our personal lives to be exalted before man. Now let's go. In order for us to know, how does this all mesh? Let me show you. In order for us to know what is the significance of them erecting this temple of Baal in England and London in the last days, we must go back into the Old Testament and show you who was Baal. Let's go. You have a few of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Read.
I'm going to start here in the book of Tobit, chapter 1, verse 5.
The book of Tobit in the Apocrypha. Who is Baal?
Start at verse 4.
Who is Baal? And why are Jewish people and the world governments of the earth erecting and acknowledging and honoring a temple of Baal? I thought that they were God-fearing Christians. I thought that they believed in God. They're banking on the ignorance of the population who's being diverted. They know a lot of us are not reading the Bible anymore.
This is Tobit 1 and 4. And when I was in mine own country in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali my father fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all the tribes of Israel.
Come on.
That all the tribes should sacrifice there. And when the temple of the habitation of the Most High was consecrated and built for all ages. Now all the tribes which together revolted, and the house of Naphtali, my father Naphtali, sacrificed unto the heifer Baal.
Now look at this here. Now the people, the 12 tribes of Israel, the people of God who received the commandments of the Most High, rebelled against the God of gods and began to sacrifice to the heifer, which is the calf, Baal. Right? So if you want to look at it from one perspective of the other, good, bad. According to the Bible, the Most High God of the Bible is good, and Baal is bad. Let's just start there. This is what led to the fall of God's people going into captivity and being scattered throughout the earth. So first of all, they had to turn to what? The worship of Baal. So how do you keep the people in captivity? Set up a system that keeps the people internally enslaved under Baal, the worship of money and finances, and set up that system, and then control their minds and make them believe and trust in Baal. So it tells you Satan is the principalities of the powers of the air. This was prophetic to let you know that they would control us and control the minds of men through airwaves. So how do you keep the Baal lifestyle and the Baal mindset continual through the airwaves? Let's create television. Let's create plays. Let's create a marb in which the idea is continually out there. Baal, 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 money, 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 money. Let's glorify it. Let's sensationalize it. See? And with that sacrifice come what? Because our people didn't do this for nothing. Our people in the Old Testament did it for instant gratification under Baal. But it was against the God of Israel.
Right.
We wanted what the nations had. We wanted to operate like them. You understand? Just imagine just a small area of righteousness within the earth and the rest of the earth having a party that we're not included into. Celebrations and having masks and walking down the street partying, the king being held up on a stick and everybody's just walking down partying. They're doing sex things and all type of things, and we're quiet. Nothing is going on amongst us. And here it is, a few of our people go amongst them and feel like something is being left out here. Why can't we celebrate like they celebrate? You understand where this is going? So the God of the Bible said, no, you cannot do that. See, Satan made following him and worshiping him comely. He made it where it actually feeds the flesh. He made it feel good and look good. He dressed it up to make anything outside of what he's putting out there boring. He had to do it that way. He had to dress his whole thing up to make it enticing, to make you want to eat, take. See? So you sitting at home, you know, right. Sabbaths, everything is quiet, and you just, and then let me tell you, the Gentiles getting it in. You like, man, where's my party? You understand? This is how they get you. So that's why when Moses came down, and I'm going to go there, off getting the commandments and look and seeing that calf, man, our people at the calf was getting it in. Parties, here it is, they was dressing provocatively, taking off their shirts, and the women was showing their breasts. All that was going on. It was a party to Baal. And I noticed this, and I'm like, you know what? It's deep. This is very deep for us. Why? Because this is how you get God's people. See, Satan understood this even back then. This is how we fell. For the things to do good, Israel will not be a part of usually. But if it seems like it's something that's similar to a party, boy, here they come.
Right.
So they had to do that through the music. It's always a party. Let's floss. Let's pop the Chris and next to the swimming pool. And you understand? It's like you don't even need a producer for a music video. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Right.
And it seems like, man, and you can't help but look at it and say, you know what, man? If you're evil, man, we need a party just like that.
Right.
And then when you look at the Christian church, the parties they having up in there, you don't want to go to a church that's just regular old boring. You need to jump it. Now, I'm down with praising and singing to the Most High, but when it comes to time when you sitting there with some tights on and all that, and you sitting there dancing like somebody ain't lusting in the pews, that's when it's getting out of hand. It's the same thing.
Mm.
And then what happens? The money. Over and over and over again. You have a pastor say, well, listen, right now I'm feeling the Spirit. The Spirit is on me. Right now, while everyone is in the Spirit, here's $1,000 donation. I've been shown out there, I've been shown in the Spirit that there's 300 people with 1,000 right now. That's how it goes. And it's all BAAL. It's all BAAL. It's all in the emotion of this spirit that's operating. No different than a Luke party, a Trick Daddy party, or whoever out there party.
Right.
Cash money party. This is what's going on. And we are being enticed. Why are they doing this? They must know something about us. They know we're the same people that fell to BAAL in the Old Testament and served captivity through the belly of ships like Deuteronomy 28 for our sins, choosing BAAL over the God of the Bible.
Right.
What else you have, Elder Lawyer?
This is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 7.
Come on. Judges 2 and 7.
The book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 7.
Come on.
And the people served the Most High Ahiah all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Most High Ahiah that he did for Israel.
Come on.
And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Most High Ahiah, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance, in Timnath-Heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gaash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Most High Ahiah.
So here's a generation who didn't know the Most High Ahiah. Now, some people out there who don't follow these videos might wonder why is Elder Lawyer reading Ahiah. You've heard God, you've heard Yahweh, you've heard Jehovah, you've heard all these different names, except what he's saying here, Ahiah. That will be explained in this lesson also. Read.
Nor yet the works which he had did or had done for Israel.
Come on.
Verse 11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Most High Ahiah, and served Baalim.
Serve Baalim. Read.
And they forsook the Most High Ahiah, the power of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods.
And follow other gods. Read.
Of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Most High Ahiah to anger. And they forsook the Most High Ahiah.
They forsook the God of the Bible, the God who led Moses and the Israelites out of Egypt. Go on.
And served Baal and Ashtaroth.
And served Baal and Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth is synonymous with who? The goddess of star, or what they celebrate during the spring solstice, Easter. So when you celebrate Easter, you're dealing with Baal worship. When you celebrate Christmas, you're dealing with Baal worship. When you deal with Sunday, as the key day of worship, you're dealing with BAAL. What else you have there?
All right, that should be.
Now, here we go. I need you to go to Hosea 2:16. Before you go there, I need you to get the sacrifice in the fire to Moloch. Before you go there, get the one here in where it says, cause our children to pass under the fire.
I have one here. And Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10.
Read.
In fact, I'll start at verse 9, Deuteronomy 18 and 9.
Deuteronomy 18 and 9.
When thou art come into the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee.
When he give us our land, go on.
Thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations.
We cannot do what the other nations do. So just because they have a religion or an ancient religion that quote unquote predates the Bible or predates Israel's existence doesn't mean that their worships and religion is right.
Right.
The Babylonian religion came before Israel was a nation. That don't make it right because it predates the time that our forefathers walked into the land of Canaan. So this is what they try to use to discredit the Bible and the holy tablets and the scriptures of the Hebrews, of our forefathers. They'll say that other religions were practicing well before Israel was ever a nation or there was any such name in ancient time. So what? We know that after our father Adam fell, Satan became the god of this world and the controller of all religions over all nations, according to the same Bible. So when the Most High took us out of Egypt, it's so that we would be separated from the polyistic thinking and the polytheism that was within Egypt. Read.
Verse 10.
Come on.
There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
Son or daughter to do what?
To pass through the fire.
To pass through the fire. For those who are looking on the screen, you will see a bull holding a black baby. Sacrificed to Moloch or Baal. You will see it right here again, where you have a bull being placed on the altar to Baal as a worship. So what's synonymous to Baal? Child sacrifice. And those that become Kabbalists, like Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Madonna. You notice they go into Africa and they be adopting these black kids, and you never see them after a while with these black kids anymore. They're flaunting it before the cameras to show all those that can see the children they will sacrifice to Baal. The same children that was sacrificed in the Old Testament. It's ritualistic. This is how they gain power. So they make third world countries. They cause chaos so that they can sacrifice God's people. To who? To Baal. Same thing. Who is Baal? We're going to go into it. Now they're erecting a temple, claimed out of the ashes of Syria to London, for London and New York. What are they commemorating? What are they showing? What is the message? Read in the Bible and understand that sacrifice comes with these temples. They're at the last legs of their game, which leads to what? 90% of the population dead. Those that buy in. I'm going to show you. That 90% that they have on the Georgia Guidestones is not just a plan of the Masons that put it there. They know the Bible. that the majority of the earth will fall to the worship and the mindset of Baal and be sacrificed to the God that they served while they lived on earth. So when it comes to what the Illuminati doing with depopulation, the Most High is letting them, because why? We choose to serve Baal. There's a remnant that will choose the path and won't go where the 90% are going. So they're doing their will. I'm speaking of those, the Masons and all that. They're following their God. The problem is the remnant or the people of the Most High who's not following theirs. Like I said, the path is here. The path is the truth. They won't take the path from you, but they'll divert you. And eventually you're doing what? Sacrificing your children. Okay? And they have set up a systematic way of doing this without informing the population. Everything is to get their grubby hands on your children. They set up the drug system in our neighborhoods and all that, so that we would have substandard families and mothers that don't care, so that they can do what? Set up social services and get your children without telling you that they're in worst case under the government. That's a Moloch setup for pedophilia, for homosexuality, for raping, and for sacrifice. Come on. Hosea 2 and 16. This is where we go into identifying the many paths that lead to Baal, so that we are aware of what's going on and who the world is worshiping and how, and know who to avoid and what to avoid. All right? Mm-hmm. Let's go to Hosea. You got it?
Mm-hmm. I'll go to Hosea 2. If you don't mind, I'll start up a few verses at 13.
Yes.
Hosea 2 and 13. And I will also visit upon her the days of Baalim, wherein she burnt incense to them, and she decked herself with her earrings and her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgat me, saith the Most High.
See that? So following Baalim and following Satan is also how people deck themselves. You notice how they show you on these different these videos and how everybody got the gold chains on and earrings. It's not saying if you modestly have on a piece of jewelry, it's not talking about that.
Right.
It's talking about decking yourself like the gods.
Right. Exactly.
And I think they showed this a few years ago. Some rapper was showing the similitude between the ancient Eastern gods and the jewelry and all that they had all over their faces and all that. And then they put it next to a modern day rapper to show you that these demons are going into these rappers and all that and acting out their insatiable Baal spirit with people. Nobody in their right mind will sit there with the whole grill of gold and diamond in their mouths and weighing down their chest looking like some type of satanic fool. And have somebody look at it like, yeah, man, he's getting it. No, he's getting hell. That's what he's getting. He's getting something hot.
Right.
Let me put that out there. People look at somebody, yeah, he's getting it.
Mm.
And the elite powers, you look at these, let me tell you, these Jewish cats with money, their shoes probably cost about $2-3. Exactly. They run around with some skippies on and a beanie on their head. They'll own your whole block.
Right.
And they looking at us like fools because we're the one buying that mess. Yeah, I got my own jeweler. He looking at you saying, go ahead, obtain all that wealth to pass right over to us. That's what our people was doing. It wasn't even about just one earring or just about a chain or no. We started going all out, looking like the gods. We wanted to shine like Lucifer in heaven. The carbuncle, the sapphire. Read.
14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her.
Come on.
And I will give her vineyards from thence and the valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as in the days when she came up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, saith the Most High Ahiah, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baali.
When you look at the word Ishi, Ishi is husband. So when you look at the Old Testament, Israel fell from the God of all gods and married Baal. Now, under the law, if you commit adultery, you can be put away. You understand? There was something written in the law that would have Israel marry another to take off the curse of Baal. So our people fell because we were married to the God of the Gentiles, Baal. It was generational. We began to sacrifice our children to it. It became our lifestyle. It became everything. So we thought it was real. We thought it was the one. He was the one. But through that, we lost everything. So the Most High says, we shall no longer call him Baali. So that means our people at one time was calling on Satan as their God. When you look at Ishi, it's also synonymous, when you look at the records, with Yeshua. That we would need to marry a savior, the bride's groom. So no longer will it be all of Israel coming into the promised land. It won't be Israel, all Israel, just a remnant that marries the son that was promised. So it's no wonder that even Hebrews, and a lot of them, are still calling on Baali and are married to Baali through ignorance. That was the only God that Satan merged us to. Okay? When I say merge, he didn't make the Most High's name readily available for the population. It was out there, but he didn't exalt it on purpose. Now, it says, they will no longer call me Baali, but Ishi. Right? A husband. He would be married. Israel would get married to another. No longer will they live on Baali or Balaam. Right? Now, I need you to go to that Strong's Concordance real quick. And in the Strong's Concordance, in the Hebrew, slide over here a little bit. Thank you. In the Hebrew, it gives you Baali, Hebrew 1180 in the Hebrew. So no longer will we call on this name, but we would call on another. Now don't forget that other name comes with child sacrifice, the worships of money, decking yourself, operating like the other nations, dealing with the religions of the other nations, dealing against the God of the Bible. Right? Come on. Read H 1180.
H 1180. Baali or Baalia. From 1161 with pronominal suffix, my master.
My master. Now it says, no man can serve two masters. My master. So if the Most High says we will no longer call him Belly, but Ishi, we would get married to another outside of this particular name, which was a master over Israel, a master we chose. Like the golden calf that was made with two heads on our way into the land of Canaan in the wilderness. Right? That was also Baal. So no longer would we trust on this and call on this. So it's from where again? What number?
1180, H1180 from 1161 with pronominal suffix, my master.
My master.
BAAL, a symbolical name for Jehovah.
Hold up now. A symbolic name for who?
A symbolical name for Jehovah.
A symbolic name of Jehovah. Now this is where it gets interesting. Jehovah in English is the tetragrammaton. We didn't get the J's to about what? I noticed that it's blacking in and out right now, right? Because, you know, they don't want this to come out. Because we're going to link up Belly from ancient times and scriptures up until our present time. Right now.